the last 3 years, I've been running Performance Max campaigns across hundreds of e-commerce brands in varying different niches and industries. And after making over $70 million with Performance Max campaigns alone, I can confidently say one thing: they're a blessing in disguise for e-commerce brands if you know how they actually work. So in this video, I'm gonna break down 5 things which you must absolutely know about Performance Max campaigns to create scale for your brand and to take it to the very next level. But with that, the first thing you should absolutely know about Performance Max is that they naturally favor retargeting over cold traffic if set up the default way. What do I mean by this exactly? Now, one thing you want to understand about Performance Max campaigns is they don't just go after cold traffic. In fact, they're designed to go after retargeting along with cold traffic. That's the only way a smart bidding based campaign like PMax works, because it needs real data coming in. It needs past data points to use so that it can become smarter, so that it can find more people like those that already work. Anytime you set up just a default Performance Max campaign without changing any types of settings, or your strategy is just very simple and straightforward, naturally a Performance Max campaign will involve a lot of retargeting. And I've been talking to a lot of brands lately where they're already doing $100,000, $500,000 a month, but when we go inside the insight section of their account, what we see is that still 70 to 80% is retargeting keywords. To avoid this completely, you will have to go within the settings to check the new customer acquisition box, because otherwise Performance Max will naturally just favor retargeting. And this makes sense because ultimately Google only makes money if you like the return on ad spend. If you are satisfied with the number you see on the screen, and to increase that number, obviously it has to do a bit more retargeting, because naturally it understands that people who are within retargeting audiences are naturally gonna be buying more of your products. There's just a higher chance. So this brings me to the next thing you should absolutely know about Performance Max, and that is Performance Max campaigns are data reliant, period. Don't listen to anybody who says that Performance Max campaigns can work if you have no conversions on your ad accounts, or if you have very few conversions, or if your conversion tracking is completely off. Because Performance Max, it's within the name, maximize performance. That's what it's designed to do. If your brand does not have previous performance, well, in that situation, it's not gonna be able to maximize anything. So you always have to ensure there is some previous data within the ad account. Now, I normally recommend at least 25 to 50 sales on the account within the last 30 days. If you run like a high ticket store, or if that's just not possible, then you want to at least be running a campaign that's a standard shopping campaign based around manual bidding, or maybe a search campaign, YouTube, whatever you can based on around your budget to help guide that Performance Max campaign. Because these campaigns, they store data on the account level, and the Performance Max campaigns are able to then use that data to become smarter over time. The third thing you must know about PMax is they work for 95% of the brands out there. Now, 95% is a very big number. Most likely, Performance Max will work for your brand as well, or it's already probably working for your brand. If it's not scaling to the next level, if your brand is plateaued with PMax, the campaign type itself, that's not the issue. Their issue is a bit deeper than that. You'll have to go into your foundation, understand if maybe your product feed is not optimized enough, maybe your landing page needs to be optimized, or just maybe your strategy has just got worn out and it needs a brand new strategy, a brand new approach to get things moving. But PMax generally should be working for 95% of the brands out there. Now, of course, there's 5% of the brands where no matter what you do, PMax just will not work. And there's a lot of reasons why a PMax may actually not be working for your account. Things such as maybe the competition is just too established and PMax is having a difficult time figuring out what the perfect bid should be, or it's not able to win enough options, maybe because the quality score is not good enough. Or another reason why PMax might also fail is because there's not enough search volume. But the beautiful thing about Performance Max campaigns is it's able to use that internal data, which is a lot smarter than what you would find with standard shopping campaigns, to make your entire account stronger, to make the algorithm a bit stronger, which is why it's so important to make sure your data is properly set up and your conversion tracking as well is working too. This brings me to the fourth thing you should know about a PMax, and that is broader is often better. Now, I've seen a lot of different PMax campaign strategies in the past 2 to 3 years alone, and what I have commonly seen with a lot of the brands which are basically hitting a plateau, maybe they're stuck at 100K a month, they can't move forward, they're stuck at 500K, $1 million a month, doesn't matter the number is, they believe that more restrictions is gonna help the PMax become smarter. And while this is true to an extent, what happens is if your main goal is scale, you should be focused on less restrictions, because anytime you have less restrictions with the Performance Max campaign, it leads to more room for the algorithm to dive into your audience pool. Think of an audience pool as a fishing net. If you add a bunch of restrictions to it, if you make the fishing net smaller, well, now it's gonna be more specific, be more direct, and catch specific amounts of fish or just type of fish you want. However, it's gonna leave a lot of the other fishes out in the sea. It's not gonna be able to get there. Whereas if you increase the size of your fishing net, meaning PMax, you lower the restrictions, well, now you might get a little bit of trash in that fishing net. It might be not the same quality of fish. However, the volume's gonna be much bigger. You're gonna have more fish at the end of the day. So if your goal is scale, you need to be focused on lesser restrictions. And keep in mind, the Performance Max campaign algorithm, as you let it run with less restrictions over time, it becomes smarter and smarter, which is what you want ultimately. This brings me to the final and most important point of all with PMax is it can be a money pit if you just end up listening to Google Ads. What most gurus out there or what most Google Ads reps out there will tell you is just add a bunch of assets into the Performance Max campaign asset group section, add a bunch of signals in, themes in, and just let it run. The algorithm is smart, it's gonna do its thing. And while that might be true to an extent, what you wanna understand is you don't know what's working because the Performance Max campaign data is very limited. It doesn't exactly tell you what's working, how much the return on ad spend is, etc. And number two, you end up ranking for a lot of display traffic networks, phone apps, mobile games, blog pages, random pages which you should not even be on because nobody really purchases from these pages because they don't trust them enough. This, number one, makes the perceived value of your brand lower. And number two, it wastes your budget and increases inefficiency because you're not targeting the right types of networks, you're not going on the right placement. So very crucial to not listen to just Google blindly, to do your own research, look at my videos, or just work with an agency that can help you establish the right kind of strategy. But again, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling to the next level, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen.